everybody and welcome to another video. GW have just dropped a couple of big articles over on the WarpCon, and I'm just going to jump in and we're going to have a little look at them. A little bit of a tease at what's to come in the future, and definitely a big reveal if you are a big fan of chunky big boys in Warhammer 40k. So let's jump in and let's have a chat about it. But before you do, if you are a part of the 72% who have yet to subscribe to my channel, hit that subscribe button and help my channel grow. And then at 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a pretty big giveaway. I look terrible because I've just woken up. I have a brew. Hopefully you've got a brew, and then we'll do this video. Let's do it. Alright, so the most unkept secret of ever is that we're getting Assault Terminators. You know, you're probably going to see other content creators use the word vindication a lot and have a smug grin on their face as though they were right about this coming. Yeah, this was always going to come as soon as the normal Terminators were updated. It was not a matter of if we're ever going to get new plastic Assault Terminators. It was a matter of when we're getting a plastic Assault Terminators. And these content creators that are going to use vindicated a lot have pretty much announced that these were coming with pretty much every major Space Marine Codex was released. Notably Blood Angels and Dark Angels, and it never did. The sort of campaign, which is probably what these are going to be tied into regarding the rules, they will be in one of the narrative campaign books. We'll talk a little bit more about the narrative campaign after. They're probably going to be found in one of those books, and then in 11th edition next year in June, because 11th edition is coming next year, we will get the full rules and everything else. But enough of that. Let's have a little look at what you get in this launch box, and it is going to be a launch box to start off with. So, Assault Terminators, they are back, baby! The classic Assault Terminator in the new scale of the Terminators. Now, I'm going to just point out something straight away that is I'm a little bit like meh about them. And that is that only one of these has the armoured reinforced cockplate, the junk plate, and that is basically the sergeant in the middle. I was really hoping that the Assault Terminators would be a little bit beefier. They would have that little bit extra armour in the front, and they would be a little bit of a chunkier boys, maybe sort of slightly more reinforced armour. But that's not the case, and I was really hoping they would move away from the all Thunderhammer or all Lightning Claw sort of build and basically allow you to have a mix and match between the two. There was a time that you could do that, and one of the sort of standard formations of a 5-man squad was at least 3 Thunderhammer and Shield and 2 Lightning Claws, but that was when we had initiative-based combat back in the older days of 40k. But either way, it's still pretty cool to actually get them, and as I said in my video when Calgar was kind of leaked, you know, expect this to sort of be coming, because Calgar needs to sort of lead a unit of Assault Terminators in his fights to come. But yeah, we've got obviously these. We're gonna have a closer look at them. Standard kit. You know, there's nothing massively outstanding here. It's everything that you would expect from an upscaled Assault Terminator. No real surprises in it. The heads just look standard, and of course we get Lightning Claws, which is pretty much what we expected to see as well. It's good to see Lightning Claws, but I really do hope they actually make Lightning Claws worth it. The real problem with the Lightning Claw, because they just look so iconic, such an iconic look for a Terminator, is that those twin claws. I'm a big fan of them, and yeah, like if I wasn't doing Space Wolves, as my main Space Marine army, I would be all over this and get really excited to do a full Terminator army. Especially having a big unit of 10 Assault Terminators with lightning claws, because it would just look so badass. Especially this guy here with the white helmet and the half helmet, that looks so cool. But because it is such an iconic look for a Terminator, and it's just so cool. But on the flip side, I've also would have really have liked to have seen them with different weapon options, like power axes and power swords, and having an axe and shield or a sword and shield, rather than either being a thunder hammer or a lightning claw. I was kind of hoping that we were going to get a few more weapon options in there, but sadly not. If you want to do that, Wolfguard Terminators are definitely your thing, which I'm kind of excited about. We still got the junk plate on the Sergeant, and that seems to be the standard. But yeah, pretty cool. And obviously you got your teleport Homer, so I'm not expecting the guys' rules to change that much. Each squad of 5 miniatures comes with 6 unhelmeted heads, 5 helmets, 5 tilting plates, and unique designs, and 15 additional accessories split between purity seals, author moments, and other small badges. The Sergeant also gets their own choice of heads, with a special Storm Shield variant and 2 more tilt plates for fancier ornaments. So pretty much standard. Now, that's not all. We also get a new Ancient for the Space Marines, a new Terminator Ancient, because if you want to field that full Terminator First Company army, which you essentially are going to be able to do now in all of the beautiful upscaled goodness, you're going to need a dude carrying a flag, because you can't have a Space Marine army without a big flag. And here in Northern Ireland, we love flags, or as we commonly call them, flags. So yeah, it's really kind of cool that we're going to get this. It's really quite nice. I quite like this. Now, we're going to be talking a little bit more. So the box set itself is going to be coming with this. So we're going to also you're going to get some of the standard Terminators with the guns, at least 5 of them. And then you're going to be getting 10 of the new Assault Terminators, the new Ancient, and then we're going to get the standard Terminator Captain and the Chaplain. To round out a nice little Terminator army, you're going to have at least 3 units there, and at least a HQ per unit to be leading them. That is pretty awesome. I like that. So you also get a really big decal sheet, and it's the standard one. So we're going to get Ultramarines in that. We're going to get some Imperial Fists, Salamanders, White Scars, Raven Guard, and an assortment of other little icons and stuff for them. No Iron Hands, which is a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame. And obviously those Imperial Fists can't be decals can't really be used as Crimson Fists, which is also a big shame. But that is not all. So the Kirk's Terminators Battle Force will be coming to pre-order soon, with individual releases for the new kits coming shortly afterwards, which is good. It's good that we're actually getting that. But that is not all. That is not all. They have also dropped an article regarding the new narrative campaign, which is going to be coming to Warhammer 40k very, very soon. The fact that the Jakari are up for a pre-order this weekend means that this weekend marks, at least in the next 2 weeks, every single codex for Warhammer 40k will be updated. I think this is the first time in 3 editions that Games Workshop have actually managed to get everything updated and roll into the narrative campaign, where you aren't basically having the codex, the final codex, and the narrative campaign overlapping, and it's kind of really messy, because you're getting like the narrative campaign is being sort of rolled out in its final installment, when we're also now starting to get articles and everything else on the next edition. So it kind of looks like they've kind of squared that away, which is good to see. So well done, Games Workshop, for actually tidying up that mess. Hopefully you can continue this on into Age of Sigmar, because the Age of Sigmar rollout for 4th edition and the end of 3rd was absolutely abysmal when it came to the campaign. So what we're going to get for the big grand narrative is going to be, so this week's armies across the Imperium will converge on a Warhammer world for the UK leg of the Warhammer 40k Grand Narrative. low lead weekend, long epic of epic proportions. One of the great things about the narrative 40k is the ability to immerse yourself in incredible short stories filled with awesome characters. The grand narrative is a great example of this. We send our most operatives to find out more about the personnel coming in. Now, I'm going to read this straight away and think, is this a hint at what's coming for the big narrative campaign at the end of the edition, or is this just something, an event? Are we going to get a global campaign for a couple of months or a couple of weeks? But let's read on. So, Forces Astra Militarum will be fighting 6 key characters will descend on Morian Spall to pursue their own agendas. Chaos, the Imperium, an unlikely coalition of Xenos. So, we're going to get the Forces of Chaos. He's going to be an exalted sorcerer. Cool, from the Thousand Suns. Okay, that's pretty sweet. The Vessel Demon Host, Araman. So it's going to be a bit much forcing in some Zinch. I'm going to maybe talk a little bit about maybe if this means anything for the big narrative. We're going to get the Death Watch. Codex Death Watch, maybe, people? Codex Death Watch. Master of Assassins, so obviously for the agents of the Imperium. And then we're going to get the Harlequin. Maybe the Harlequins are going to get their Codex back. We're going to get a little bit of the... Ooh, is this the Necrons? It does look like the Necrons. Yeah, so... This is interesting. So, why Morium? Officially newly minted 7 declares he seeks to safeguard dynamic interests and reweb for the Tomb Worlds. Teresian Private Index. I got a feeling that this is more to do with just the... that weekend. Maybe it might be a little bit of a teaser of building into the narrative, but that is definitely coming, and we will definitely be getting to see that by the end of the year, or I would probably say by the end of October going into November, we will start getting those campaign books going into the big narrative. Personally, I think that this will be either Vulcan or Lehman Russ returning. My money is on Lehman Russ. It is the end times. It is the wolf time. He was kind of hinted at heavily at the end of 7th edition during the Warzone Fenris. We have the Space Wolf refresh. There seems to be something going on in there in regards to some of the stratagems and keywords, like excluding monsters when Space Wolves don't have any monster units. The only monster unit they would have would be Lehman Russ, being the Primarch, like his 2 brothers. And we definitely are in need of a Loyalist Primarch to come back to kind of even out the scales, because it's currently 4 traitor against 2 Loyalist. And it kind of makes sense narrative-wise for Lehman Russ to turn back. He is one of the big Loyalist Primarchs that are still alive. And would kind of make sense narratively as well. But yeah, I've got a feeling that we'll probably see a lot more. This could potentially just be a narrative campaign. Put your results in. Kind of like what they did with Medusa 5, if anyone remembers that. I don't think it's going to be on the scale of the 13th Black Crusade. What a glorious worldwide campaign that was. It was probably one of the best ones they've done. The only other campaign of that scale that they've ever managed to pull off was the Storm of Chaos for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and that was just as epic. But unfortunately, Games Workshop promised a lot for those campaigns, and then failed to deliver. Some people do say that the reason why 40k is the way it is with the Kriegsmile Adixum right now is because of the narrative campaign way back when, but that is completely balls. They retconned the absolute jeebus out of that and made it end up being a draw. Even though technically Chaos won because they'd overrun something like 90% of Cadia, but somehow it was a draw. So yeah, I don't think we're going to get something that big. But this is really cool. It's a really pretty awesome day. Assault Terminators, a new box. So if you are a big fan of Space Marines, a lot of people are. Look, I've already seen comments on the interwebs of people going, oh my god, more Space Marine content. Look, Space Marines are GW's biggest seller. right? If GW could give us a 50 shades of a billion different types of Space Marines, they would. If we could have a codex for every single chapter that had a reasonably sized fan base, Games Workshop would do that and throw Space Marines at us until the cows come home. Because they know, regardless of what people say, they will sell. Big time. Space Marines are a huge, big part of this franchise. They are a huge, big moneymaker for Games Workshop, so we're always going to get Space Marines. Just look at Space Marine 2, the computer game, and how good Space Marines are received. When they're done well, the fan base absolutely love them. I'm also looking forward to Space Marine 3. But anyway, I'm digressing. So yeah, Assault Terminators coming. Keep an eye out for more news on that narrative campaign coming by the end of the year. I do think it's going to be a big one, and it's going to roll us right into 11th edition. And I'm going to predict that it's probably going to be Orcs versus the Imperium, the Space Marines, for the big launch box. And then once the Orcs bit's out of the way, because this is how it always works. Look at the Tyranids. Tyranids are the big threat. We kind of had a little bit about Tyranids, and then we kind of went on about other things. Chaos was the big threat in 8th edition, and we kind of went on to... Necrons were the big threat. And yeah, they're not. So, take it as it is. And then, we'll see what they come. But I've got a feeling that it's going to be something pretty big. We're going to get a lot of cool miniatures during it, like always, a lot of cool character miniatures. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the return of Yarick. They did say he wasn't dead, and they also said he was dead. But retconning is something Games Workshop is very good at. So, that's the video. If you are liking what I'm doing, please do hit that subscribe button. I am slowly chipping away to that 5,000 target. That is my goal, to hit 5,000. And then once I do hit that 5k, I am going to be doing a 5,000 subscriber giveaway, where I'm going to get a big box of miniatures and send it to somebody who is one of my subscribers. And it would be pretty awesome to get a channel up to 5k. I never expected to do it. Even what it's at now, I'm a bit like, wow, that's mental. But anyway, you can also let me know in the comments if you're pretty stoked about this and getting excited as I am. And yeah, and like, share and all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next video. So goodbye, people.